This is insane. I'm going to be taking 7 grand's worth of camera gear out there with this. Best we get in the water then. Why is it in all these YouTube videos you see everybody making coffee rather than drinking it? Well, that's a proper cup of coffee.
Time to make some coffee. Gonna show you guys how to do it.
Anyway, in today's video, what we're going to be doing is going through the pros and cons of a professional water housing for your proper cameras. I don't mean something for GoPros, I mean something like this. And yes, it's a hefty old beast, as you can see, but is it worth it? And hopefully help you decide whether it's something you want to buy. And during the video, I'll show you how easy it is to set this up. It does look a bit complicated, I know, but you won't believe how easy it is to set up. Plus some tips and tricks that I've learned whilst I've been out using it over the past few months. But as you can see, it's quite big, so let's get it out of the way for a minute. Now, what I've done is I've taken it out to 3 events now, and what I'll do is, through the video anyway, is show you some of the footage and the still shots that I've taken from it. And you know, I'm no professional at it neither, but I've been really amazed at the results you can get from it. Rather than relying on like a GoPro, an action camera and things like that, you just can't get the same effect. And as always, if you're interested in any of the images, let me know in the comments down below and I'll send you out a few of them for you, so you can play around with them, you know, in that raw status and see what you can do with them. Now, you're gonna have to excuse me today because I've got a bit of a cold, you can probably tell. Nose is blocked up, sore throat and things like that, but I needed to get this video done. And I didn't catch the cold by going out in the water. It's just one of those things that happens, isn't it, to all of us? So not to disappoint you, here's today's little joke. Why does Princess Leia have her hair up in those buns all the time? So that it doesn't hang so low.
Oh no.
Now then, I chose Ikelite, I think that's how you pronounce it anyway. The reason being is there's done lots and lots of research on it because, you know, not cheap pieces of kit, and also it's your pride and joy that you're putting inside that, and then you've got to trust it in the water. Worse than that, you've got to trust it in salt water. So you've got to go for a good piece of kit. There's loads of cheap ones on the market out there, but I just would not trust them, not with you know, really expensive Canon gear and things like that in there. They've had 50 years experience in the game, so they must be doing something right. And here's a couple of photos before we have a look at how easy it is to put together. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, one of the pros of this piece of kit, rather than just trying to take a camera out on the sea and things like that, is you can take those awesome shots where you've got the camera in half in the water and half out, and you get photos like these. Now, these aren't mine. I've put credit down below who took these photos, and it'll be in the description down below, so if you want to go and look at more of them, then feel free to do so. But the problem is when I've been out in it, it's been in rough water and things like that, and the coast on Exmouth, although it's a lovely clean beach, it's not like being out in the Med and crystal clear water and things like that where you can get these type of shots. And I've had no joy whatsoever. I'll show a few of them at the end of the video of what I did get. They were okay, but they didn't have that clearness on it. So seeing as this is a full review, what I'm going to do is take you up to the hot tub now and show you what it's like in crystal clear water. Now, as you can see, it works really well, doesn't it? Whether it's for video like this or some of these still shots like this. I know they're not that interesting being in the hot tub, but just imagine, you know, with a creative mind and things like that, what you could actually get done. Now, like I said earlier on, you're probably saying by now, yeah, that's great, Heath, but it looks really complicated and it's going to take loads of time to put together. Now, I can tell you now, it's not. It's really easy. So let's have a look at it. So the first thing we need to do is get rid of this. You do get this handy tool in here, which you can put in there, but I've already loosened this off. Okay, just wind that one out and hopefully that should just drop out there. Now, you're not going to need this again, it's just a blanking plate, but always good to keep it in case you want to seal this off. But once I've got it set up, I'm probably never ever going to take it apart, and you need this bit for in a minute. First thing you want to do is turn the housing over onto its front and have a nice clean surface like this. Now, when you disconnect the back plate, what you need to do, okay, is make sure you do the side ones first, without getting your finger caught like this, okay, and then the one at the front here, last of all. All right, now the reason you do that is so that it gets a nice flat seal, and you do it in reverse when you're putting the back plate on. Okay, so we take that one out of the way, pop that somewhere nice and safe. Now then, what you want to do is make sure you don't get any dirt in these seals here. So if you do, then make sure you wipe it off before you put it back together, and you get some silicone with it, which you can actually smear on there to give that tighter seal. But I've already done that on this one. Now, you get this little plate here, okay? That one comes out, and that's to mount on the bottom of your camera. So first thing you need to do is get that on there. Now, the good thing you'll notice, as you can see, is this little lip here. And what it does, it's designed for your actual camera, all right? It fits in there. I'm not going to use my nail for this, because I'll probably end up breaking it. And you tighten that one up nicely. And as you can see, it fits here on the back plate. There we go. And once you've connected that, all right, nice and tight, pull the hot shoe cable, this one here, out. Make sure all of these are pulled right up high, and you'll see why in a second. Okay, and then that slots in nicely. Get all your bits out of the way. And what you do is you take the back plate and you pop that one on. Sorry, forgot to connect that first, the hot shoe. Get that out of the way. You take the back plate and you pop him on. Make sure he's nice and firmly on there. Like I said, do the two side ones at the same time, and you'll see it pull down, you'll see the seal go on like that, and then you do the front one. So next we need to do the lens, don't we? Now there are other ways of doing this. There's plenty of videos out there, and some people may say that I'm doing this back to front, but I find this the easiest way to do it. And the ways that other people are showing it, i.e. connecting the lens to the camera and pushing it through, doesn't work with this setup. So what you need to do is get your lens, put this one over first. Okay, so that's the one that holds it in place, which you'll see in a minute. And then you take the one that connects up so that you can do the zoom and everything else, and you pop that on. Now you need to put this on very, very carefully, as you can see, all right, because you need to make sure that your lock is back on there, because you can easily push them off of autofocus onto manual focus, or again, take the stabilizer off, or worst case scenario, you end up putting the lock back on there so you can't get the zoom. So you do that and get them all set up nicely. Then you just turn it up like this, pop them in, line them all up, and give it a little twist until you hear that click happen. Then you can take your fingers and you can run them around on this one, or as I do, as I get that little tool, and you just push it around. Yeah, and what it would do is it would tighten up nicely and hold everything in place for you. And as you can see, yeah, I'll put it sideways, you can see that the zoom's working now. Right, now then, for the ports, the dry ports themselves, or housings, whatever you want to call them. Now, as you can see, I've got 1, 2 on here, plus the dome at the front. You can get flat ones, but I wanted a dome on mine. What you do is you go onto the Inky site themselves, and then you find out which pieces of these you use for your type of lens. This is set up for the the RF 24 to 70. All right, and there'll be links down below for you to be able to find these ones if that's the setup you're after. But what you need to do, and these are all only thumb tight on here, by the way, don't over tighten them. All you need to do then is slot that one on, making sure that you hear that nice slide go in, and you can actually feel it pull in. And then up here, you need to make sure the top one is actually at 12 o'clock. Yeah, and I screw this one down first, and then what I do is I have a look all the way around to make sure that they're all sat nice and flat and flush. Okay, and then all you do is tighten these all up. Now, like I said, just make sure they're finger tight as well. Speed that one up for you. So just to show you the last thing here, okay, remember I said about pulling these all up? As you can see, you then push them down nice and firmly, yeah, and they attach onto all your controls at the top. On the left hand side here, or sorry, right hand side here, okay, you have your one that actually does the photo itself or sets off the record. You've got the autofocus there, and you've got all of the different ones. Now these here are pretty standard, I believe. You've got the focus wheel on the left hand side here. It's right on there, or was it left on there? Anyway, it's over on this side. Yeah, and on the back, I don't know if you can actually see it in here, but you've got all the different buttons and they are labelled up with your menu. Yeah, you've got your wheel button there for down the bottom. You've got all the other ones, your auto focus, menu, rate, everything on there, set, and the whole lot. Every single button is controllable from the outside. So once you've connected this, you don't need to disconnect it to try anything at all. Top tip for you would be to set your settings before you go in to the water. So there you go. Pretty easy, innit? Nice and straightforward. Didn't take long to put it together in any way, shape or form. And in a minute, I'm going to give you a couple of tips or ideas that I've picked up over the past few months while I've been using it that hopefully help you out. But before we do, here's a few more shots and some of the video that I've taken over the past few months at these events. What do you think? Let me know. Anyway, this is the first tip. Now, this is a vacuum gauge. Now, you don't have to get one of these. It's not a necessity to use the kit and everything else, but I think it's well worth the money because what it does is it gives you that sense of security when I'll show you how to use it in a minute. But it gives you that sense of security that the housing is fully sealed and not only watertight, but also airtight. And what I'll do is I'll actually set up the camera the night before I'm going to go out and get a brand new battery in there, of course, as well, because once you've got it set up, the last thing you want to do is disconnect it all and reseal it and everything else. I'll get it all in there and then I'll apply this vacuum gauge to it just like this. And what I do is I pump it up to 10, okay? Then once it's there, I unplug it just like this. It's really easy to connect, as you can see. Unplug it and then leave it for an hour or a bit longer, and then later on replug it back in. And if it's the same, just like this, it's all pretty tickety-boo. And to be bulletproof, what I'll do is I'll put the camera over on the side with it disconnected, the vacuum gauge that is, okay? And then in the morning, before I shoot off onto the shoot and things like that, what I'll do is I'll just connect it again, and hopefully you should see that it hasn't dropped down. And what that gives you then is a secondary opportunity to be able to look around it and see if there is any leaks. Now, the other tip is something I want to talk to you all about, because some of you out there might have better ideas or might have been using the domes on the GoPros and things like that. What it is, as you can see from these photos here, some of the shots and the videos will end up with water drops on the dome. And sometimes what it does is it actually starts to focus on those rather than the subject, which, to be honest with you, when you're out in the water, you can't always tell, and you get disappointed when you get home with the shots like these. Now, all I know to do is to spit on the dome itself, like I used to do on the motorcycle helmets. And what that creates is a film over the side of it and things like that. So it stops all the water drops forming and things, going over the dome and getting in the way. But one, it's not that hygienic, is it? And two, you run out of spit, especially when you're out in the salt water. So if any of you out there know of any ideas, or if people have got these housings themselves and know of any ideas, please drop in the comments down below, because you'll help out myself and probably a lot of other people, because I'm sure there must be some form of chemical or something like that that you can put on there without damaging it, that you can actually do to stop the water forming. But that's it for today. I'll throw a few more shots at the end of it, or some bits of footage that I haven't shown you already, but if you've liked this and you found it useful, give it the old thumbs up, because it helps the channel out massively. And if you're thinking of buying one yourself, there'll be a couple of links down there for different types of the camera housings made for Sony, Canon. They did loads of different ones, and you know, really worth it if you're out and about and you want to do that type of photography. And don't forget, if you've got any questions whatsoever, or any tips or ideas and things like that, leave them in the comments down below. I will be doing some more videos with this kit itself. There'll probably be some links up there already, but there'll be other stuff, you know, other camera gear and things like that, so make sure you hit the subscribe so you don't miss out. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay safe out there, have fun making stuff, keep smiling. Cheers for now.